9:35 at WNBF. I'm Bob Joesph on a Friday morning. Part of Broome County District Attorney Michael Korchak's news conference that was held on Wednesday has gone viral. There was about a half-minute clip from the news conference that Mr. Korchak had that now has received more than 80,000 views on Twitter, and the clip was posted by a reporter for a Buffalo TV station. Ashley Rowe from WKBW posted a clip from the Michael Korchak news conference. In her tweet, she said, when asked if the Buffalo massacre was an act of terrorism, he said terrorism is flying planes into buildings. Listen to this clip, and admittedly, it's not the entire answer, but it's a portion of the answer, and it's gone viral on Twitter, and also thousands of people have viewed it elsewhere on the internet, and it's generated a lot of reaction, especially outside the Binghamton area.
Terrorism, I'm from downstate. Terrorism is flying planes into buildings. This is just murder, as far as I'm concerned. It is terrorism because you're terrorizing the community, and it was racially motivated, we believe, at this point in time. But, from the DA's perspective, crime is crime. And whatever your motive for doing it, your motive is you're an evil person, and that's why you're doing it. So, I really don't get into what's terrorism and what's not terrorism. It's crime.
All right, so it's about a 30-second clip from Mike Korchak's news conference on Wednesday. And as I mentioned, there's been a lot of discussion online of what Mr. Korchak said there. And another person who has thoughts on what Michael Korchak has said is a candidate for state senate, Leslie Danks Burke from Ithaca. She has spoken out following the remarks of Mr. Korchak, and we're joined now by Leslie Danks Burke. So, what did you think when you heard some of the remarks of the Broome County District Attorney the other day?
Well, good morning, Bob. It is a shameful attempt by the District Attorney to deny terrorism. When a District Attorney closes his eyes to the legal difference between terrorism and other crimes, that is exactly the sort of complicity that allows ideas like the Great Replacement Theory to take hold. Your last caller pointed to influences on the Buffalo murderer from, social media, et cetera, and those influences go right up to the top. We see our district attorney refusing to see what is right in front of all of our eyes. Terrorism is terrorism, and we have to call it out for what it is. And if we don't, we are complicit in the scourge that is sweeping our nation.
So have you sent any kind of a note to Mr. Korchak or attempted to contact him or his office with your concerns?
Well, I've put out my statement. He is the district attorney for Broome County. That means he's accountable to the people. He's been elected to serve the people. He's also an attorney. I'm a lawyer myself, and I know that it's very important to follow these legal distinctions, especially when we see the crime problem that we are seeing around us these days. And so if a district attorney himself declines to draw the difference between one crime and another crime and try to downplay a particular crime, that is deeply problematic, and he's accountable to the people for that.
So our listeners know, after I noticed the response online and noticed that the clips of the news conference were starting to go viral, I sent a note to Michael Korchak yesterday morning at 7:35, and I wrote to him, I said, your comments at the news conference have generated a fair amount of response online. Are you interested in discussing the reaction on the program? And I haven't heard back from him. So that was a message I emailed to Mr. Korchak 26 hours ago. So for people who are wondering, well, shouldn't Mr. Korchak have a chance to talk on this program about the reaction, not just here in New York State, but elsewhere around the country. He was offered the opportunity, and he still will have the opportunity if he wants to talk today or Monday about the reaction, because, I was there at the news conference and heard those remarks, and at that point, even as it was happening in real time, as a reporter, I knew once this got out, especially beyond Binghamton, that there would be a lot of reaction to what he said.
Well, and Mr. Korchak then tried to defend his point by saying that he's from downstate. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if he's trying to say that people downstate don't understand what crime is, but certainly in Binghamton and Broome County and in the southern tier, we understand what crime is. And when we see the folks at the top downplaying it's shameful. I'd also like to applaud the local journalists who brought this to everyone's attention. You pointed out, Bob, that it was a Buffalo news station reporter who put this first online. You also mentioned that you were there at that press conference. To me, supporting local journalism and making sure that we do have this information out there so that we, the people who are in charge of this democracy, are able to hold our elected officials accountable. That's tremendously important. And so I do applaud local journalism for making sure we have this information.
Leslie Danks-Burke, a Democratic candidate for New York State Senate. I appreciate your comments this morning, and we certainly will be speaking with you in the coming days and weeks. And I also expect we'll be speaking at some point with Michael Korchak on the program to at least get some additional insight from him about what he said at the news conference, and also his thoughts on the reaction to what he said. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bob.
It's 9:42 at News Radio WNBF, WNBF.com. Now